Well, good morning. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all today? I hope you're well, and that's what I want to talk about. Preppers are killing themselves, and I don't want you to be one of those. I was watching, I caught part of a video on a channel that I don't usually watch, and don't put too much into that. If I say that I don't usually watch a channel, it doesn't mean that I don't like the channel. I don't watch very many channels. I just don't have time for it. There's a couple that I do, but I don't. I'm busier than I've ever been, and to be honest, there's a lot of channels I used to watch that I don't anymore. So if I say that I don't usually watch a channel, doesn't mean it's a bad channel, doesn't mean I don't like it. Just means I don't watch it because I don't have time, or I'm not into that, or whatever. But it's a channel that some other people have told me that they like very much, and it was the person whose channel it is was talking about anxiety and the increase of anxiety among people, specifically among, and I think he was talking about his own anxiety. I think that this is something that is increasingly experienced by preppers, and I think that's a shame, and I think it's wrong, and I think it's counterproductive. Certainly, the whole purpose of preparing is so that you're not anxious, so that you're prepared, not scared. If any of you have ever seen the video that my kids made years ago, and maybe I'll put that up on the Patreon channel because people love it. Years ago, my kids thought, we thought maybe they'd do a preparedness channel for kids. They didn't pursue it, but their introductory video for what was going to be their channel, they talk about, and they're like, I don't know, 10 and 5 and 4 at the time. It was really cute. Their tagline is "Don't be scared, be prepared," and that's exactly right. And that's what I want to talk about. Now, what do I mean that preppers are killing themselves? I don't mean that they're going out and putting and taking themselves out. Maybe some are. I don't know, but I see an increasing amount of anxiety amongst them. And I tell you what, hard work isn't what usually kills people. It's worry, and it is anxiety. Now, the guy whose channel I was watching said something to the effect that he thought 80% of Americans are on antidepressants. That's not true. It's more like 15 or something like that. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. Remember, I used to be in the healthcare system, in the security, and I dealt with a lot of those people. So people are, I think it's a matter of declining coping skills, a declining sense of responsibility and self-reliance, and it's driving a lot of people to anti-anxiety and antidepressant, drugs, and it's killing them. It really is. I mean, anxiety kills, worry kills, because it results in other things that can kill: high blood pressure, stroke. How many people are on, and it's, I happened to see the figure on this not long ago. I think that it was 40, 45, something like that, of American adults are now on some kind of prescription med. It's just amazing. This is a modern problem. I mean, modern by that term, since the 80s. When I was young, I didn't know anybody that took meds. My grandparents, nobody. They didn't take meds. They didn't have high blood pressure. They didn't have high cholesterol. I mean, they might have had high cholesterol. That's a whole nother subject, because we've been told for years that cholesterol is dangerous for you, and then all of a sudden they backed up on that. It was a way to sell meds. Okay, I'm not going to get into medical situation here, but I'll be right. This doesn't just come from me. It comes from many of my friends who are involved in the healthcare system. That a lot of the healthcare system is one big con. It's a big scam. But anxiety is not. And so I want to speak specifically to that. If you are anxious, and that's what anxiety means. It does, if you're looking forward to something, the proper word is eager. If you're anxious, it means you're worried. You're all tensed up. You think that bad things are happening. Where worry comes from is if you don't think you can do anything about it, or if you're not prepared. And again, we find preparedness at the very base of this. My main guy, Mark, was over at the house yesterday. We were putting Christmas lights up on houses, and we were talking about Mark is a hard charger. I mean, everything he does 100% force and speed and everything else. As a result, he gets a lot done. But he was talking about, how he kind of made a joke. He says, I'm trying to work on slowing down like you do. And I have to admit, I walk slow, I drive slow, I don't think slow, I think pretty quickly. But I don't let the so-called worries of life drive me into a state of anxiety that is going to be detrimental to me. Okay? It's one of the things that is a responsibility of yours. I know that right now, probably when people have found out that I'm not going to talk about suicide and things like that, too many people are going to click off of this. I put up one about the end of the world or the latest catastrophe, several thousand hits, and I put up one the other day about positive prepping, and I got 600 hits. Here's the problem: people aren't attracted to positivism. Isn't that strange? And this is one of the causes of their anxiety. They would rather worry than actually do something about it. Being prepared is really not that difficult. I had a commenter, I think it was on the one I put up about positive prepping, and I was talking about buying food in bulk, and how one of the basic principles of integrative preparedness is preparing in a way that not only prepares you to survive in a future catastrophe, but improves the quality of your life today. And I gave the example of how I bulk buy food, and I said when corn goes on sale for 29 cents, I don't buy 10 cans, I buy 400 cans. And how that then improves my life today, because when we need a can of corn, we're eating 29-cent corn, not $1.79 corn. You see how that helps me also prepare money, right? Saves a lot of money along the way, because we're going to eat corn. We're not necessarily going to eat Mountain House, right? But we know we're going to eat corn. And one of the commenters made a statement that came off kind of snarky. And it was like, said something to the effect, well, it must be nice that you have the money to buy corn. Not all of us can do that. And I get these kind of comments, not all the time, but fairly frequently. And I'm always disappointed in it, because it shows that that person comes from an expectation of failure. And so I answered, and I checked back, and I saw, previous comments by this commenter, and she hadn't left snarky comments before. I think it's a her. I'm not sure. I should say they. The pronouns are they. They had not left any snarky comments before, and it seemed a little bit out of character, and so I let it ride. And I came back and I said, well, you said in a previous post that you buy $100 worth of junk silver every month. Seemed to me that that's a way to do it. I mean, 400 cans of 29-cent corn. That's only $120, and all of a sudden you are set. And then the next month you do. I think, I'm not going to get off into the precious metals. I'll tell you right now, I am not a proponent of precious metals. And I know some people who believe all these ads, gold and silver and all this kind of stuff. I can't convince them. I've tried it, so I'm not even going to try. But don't come on here and tell me how your precious metals is going to help you in the future, because if it all comes falling down and I have all the corn and you have all the precious metals, guess who's going to end up having all of the precious metal and still most of the corn? okay? Because I can eat corn and you can't eat precious metals. I understand that it's more complicated than that, and I could talk about it with you for, an hour or 10 hours, however long you'd like, explaining why precious metals is not the best hedge against inflation, but I'm not going to do it here because I'm tired of it. So if you want to buy precious metals, be my guest. Go ahead and, go ahead and do it. That's not what this is about. This is about anxiety and how too many preppers are just driving themselves insane because they don't think they're ready. Do you know why they don't think they're ready? They don't think they're ready because they're scared to death every day of something new. I don't watch the news that much. I don't know. I have to kind of give credit to the channels who can think of some new catastrophe to talk about every day. I don't think I could do it. I'm not putting them down. I'm saying I can't do it. And the main purpose of you got two purposes, I suppose, for people having channels. One is to help people to pass on knowledge, and the other is as a business is to make money. And then there are some that are a little bit of both. And there's nothing wrong with any of those. And however you want to do it, you shouldn't rag on people who just want to make money. If this is the way they make money, they probably don't rag on the way you make money, okay? And obviously they have found a huge market for people who want to be scared to death. It's kind of like we took the kids to a haunted house. It's the same thing. There's a lot of people that want to be scared to death about the coming catastrophes, whether it's a nuclear war, an EMP, an asteroid, mass starvation, and I'm not making fun of these because I think we're in danger of some. I think that a famine and I think that an EMP are whether it's I would say grid down situation. That's what I wrote my books about. Grid down, whether it's EMP or cyber tech, I think those are legitimate concerns. But to run around and every day be anxious and not be able to sleep and not think that you're doing enough is going to kill you, long before that does. You're not going to have a chance to starve to death because you're going to die of a heart attack far before that. The number of people that are on high blood pressure medications, the number of people that are on cholesterol medications, the number of people that are on anxiety medications, antidepressants, anti-insomnia, for crying out loud. There's an old saying for those of us who are believers, and that is, if you're going to worry, why pray? And if you're going to pray, why worry? The Bible tells us that worry is lack of faith. If you're a believer, hang on to that. Think about that for a minute. If you're not a believer in the same religious tradition that I follow, which is Christianity, well, I won't say Christianity necessarily. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, and some of the people who form that umbrella of Christianity have not given it a very good reputation. But it's trust in God, trust in and listen to and follow the direction that He shows you, and then just do it. Not to rip off Nike for their go lay down. Not to go lay down. Go lay down. My dog wants to be in the picture here. People worry because they're not doing it. They don't think they're doing enough. Well, you do what you can, and you do it in a spirit of strength and a spirit of faith, and a spirit of positivism. Okay? Prepping is not that difficult. Do you need more food? Get more food. I know I'd like to make it more complicated. It's not. Do you need to store more water? Store more water. And of course, have a way to purify it. Know how to purify it. Do you need to up your defensive stance a little bit? Well, do what it takes to do that. Buy the things that it takes to do that. And you don't need 10 of them, Unless, I will stop short because people need different things. And people are planning for different things. I, for one, I prepare to be able to supply a number of people outside my family with everything that they need. Maybe that's not what you want to do. Maybe that's not your thoughts. You just need to prepare for a couple of people. Then do that. And don't let the fact that you can't or haven't yet done more drive you crazy, because it's going to keep you awake at night. And what kind of day does that give you tomorrow, right? It gives you an unproductive day full of worry. And then that means that the next night you're even more worried. You know, one of the reasons that I wrote my books, here they are. If you read these books, you will see a complete plan, a plan of attack of how to prepare to survive, and then to rebuild after a major collapse, and to do it in a way that's positive. I don't like, I'm fully aware of all the horrible things that could happen in a collapse of society, an EMP, a nuclear war, all these things. I'm as aware as anyone, okay? Trust me on this. I wrote 5 books about this stuff, but you know what? I didn't fill them with every horrible thing that could happen. What I filled it with was lessons on how not to have horrible things happen to you when horrible things are happening in the world. You know, preparedness is insulation against the horrors of the world. That's what it is. But it's multidimensional. You have to think of all the different aspects of preparedness. Okay. The way to get, if you haven't read these books, I would encourage you to do it. So many people all around the world have told me it's made such a difference in their preps, in their preparation. They're no longer prepping from fear. They're prepping with a game plan, actually a plan of attack. They'll say, I want to build my own Stonemont. That's the name of the community in here. I want to build my own Stonemont. I feel better when I read your books. I feel more at ease. I feel it's a world that I would rather live in than the world I'm living in now. And my answer is, well, I'm certainly glad of that. I'm glad it helped. But build your own Stonemont. Start building your own. Some people will say, well, not everybody has all the money in the world. Well, what kind of asinine statement is that? Is it that we don't know that everybody in the world doesn't have all the money in the world? Okay, that's not what this is about. The people in here didn't have all the money in the world. I don't have all the money in the world, okay? Nobody does. You have what you have. You make the best of it, and you build on it, okay? But you build on it because you want to live a better life, not because you want to worry yourself to death. And worry is what we do when we're not doing anything to solve a problem. You know, when you used to have, you have a math test and you're worrying about it, it's usually because you haven't been studying, right? You start studying, and all of a sudden, you know what you're not doing while you're studying? You're not worrying, because you're solving the problem. You're preparing to solve the problem that lies ahead of you. That's what these books are about. If you haven't read them, even if they were by somebody else, I'd tell you to read them, but they're by me, and I still tell you to read them. They'll do more good for you than you can imagine. And the way to get them, right down here, I've got links right down here. You can get them from Amazon, either in paperback like this, or in Kindle, or you can get autographed copies from me. And get them and read them and read them through. I've had so many people tell me they've read them 3 or 4, 5 times, the whole series, because every time they pick up something new from them. And there will be those that say, oh, that's just horrible, you're trying to sell your books. Guess why I wrote them, okay? Ding dong, okay? I'm a writer. So I guess I'm not supposed to say buy my books, even though I'm in the preparedness business and have been for years and years and years before most of them ever started even watching YouTube, right? And I wrote a bunch of books, but I'm not supposed to say, hey, buy my books. Oh, man. Okay. Look. It's a beautiful, I'm looking at it, falling leaves. I'm drinking coffee. My dog's laying over there. He wants to be petted again in a minute. I see he's keeping an eye on me from behind me. Yeah, he wants to make sure that none of you attack me. I'm going to have a beautiful day, and during this beautiful day with my family and doing those things that we do on Sundays, I might have a campfire tonight. I'm going to be doing things to add to my preparation. Now, I don't have to do a lot of things to add big time. I've been doing it for years, but I'm going to do, it's always in the back of our mind, okay? Something goes on sale at the grocery store, guess what? We've already got a lot of it. We're going to get more, because how much do we need? I don't know. There's no way to know, but we'll go get more. Okay? It's just it's the responsible way to live. But living responsibly also, it doesn't mean living anxiously. It means doing it purposefully, positively. And when you do that, you're going to be in a lot better shape than if you're running around trying to get things, out of fear. Patching the roof before it rains is a lot better than trying to run around with pans when you haven't patched the roof, to catch all the drips in the house. That's all it is. Do a little bit here, a little bit there, do a little bit every day. But I think my main thing is stop being so scared. Stop being so terrified of everything that comes down the road. Okay, there's war, and so, Putin's threatening this, and Biden's threatening this, and elections are coming up, and the border is porous, and crime is up. Yeah, I know. It's the world we live in. And there are people that will say, it's never been this bad before. It's never a thing. And I would say, study your history. We'll get people on here say Jesus is coming back soon. Well, I know he's coming back. I have no idea when he's coming back, and neither do you, and neither does anybody else, and he told us that. And if you think that Christians are more, just using as an example, this isn't a religious thing, if you think that Christians are more persecuted now than ever before, are you familiar with Nero's torches? I talk about it in one of my books. I think it's The Blessings of Freedom. I'm not sure. It's either An Appeal to Heaven or The Blessings of Freedom. I refer to this, and I talk about this very thing. Nero used to light his garden parties with burning Christians. Have you seen anything like that lately? Well, there are some places in the world where Christians' lives are in peril for being Christians. Not here. Not really, not yet. Okay. So things aren't worse than they ever have been, and there are people who are going to make you want to believe that it is, and there are people who are going to want to believe that it is, but it's not. It doesn't mean you shouldn't prepare. You should prepare, because the more prepared you are, the more you're able to separate yourself from a society that has just gone off the rails. And it's going farther down in the ditch. Who knows how bad it's going to get? I'm looking over because I'm petting my dog. Did you know that petting a dog reduces your blood pressure? I don't need it because my blood pressure is perfect. But that's because I don't worry. Yeah, I don't want you all to worry either. I want you to do what it takes to prepare and be ready, and do it with positivism. So when you go to bed at night, you sleep like a log. And you wake up in the morning refreshed just to do what you need to do the next morning. You're not worrying, okay? So pay attention to what's going on around you. But stop, if you're one of these people who is killing themselves because of your anxiety and your worry, or if you know somebody who is, share this with them. Stop it. Stop it. It is not serving you any good purpose, and it's not helping anybody else either. And it's actually detracting from your lifestyle and could very well be killing you. Okay? I want you alive. I want you alive, and whatever happens in the world. I'm going to leave it at that. Remember, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. We don't worry a lot today in order to worry more tomorrow, okay, or to give ourselves a heart attack or a stroke. So, all right, I'm almost done, buddy. So you all have a good day. I hope you have a good day. And think about this. If you're worrying yourself to death, realize there's a reason that there's that saying. You worry yourself to death. Don't do it. Trust in God. Follow His guidance. Do what you know you should do. Do what you can. And live your life well now. Don't destroy today for some worry about tomorrow. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.